Hi guys, Keith Arkenberg Farms. It is the first week of April 2020. It's beautiful out here. It's like 60 some degrees, no wind. And today I'm getting ready to throw in the main line for my irrigation header, getting into the meter pit and running the line out. Let me show you. So the plan here is to run a 1-inch main out of my meter pit all the way out through the farm as a central mainline irrigation line. From there, I'll tee off to each individual bed as I go and put spigots that pop up for each of them. Now, this is not going to be a frost-proof, freeze-proof system. I'm gonna have to blow it out every year. I'm only gonna drop it in the ground about 12, maybe 16 inches. And for that, I'm actually going to use the tractor for that. I think I've got a rig that'll work, but we'll find out here in a second. So here is my irrigation rig. I'll be laying this in the ground with this. I'm actually using my Wonderbar toolbar. Great product. Not endorsed by them. I've got a ripper shank on the front of here. And then I've got a piece of electrical conduit, 2 inches around, that comes up out of the ground. I just used some pipe straps, strapped it on the back of the ripper, and the plan is to feed the irrigation line down through as I drive forward. I'll have to have somebody help me do this so they can guide it in. I had to dig this initial part by hand because I've got a drain line that comes up from the pack shed, and dug this over through this tricky little area over to the meter pit. So I'm going to get ready, load that in, and then we'll pull it through, see how it works. Now, before we get too far in this, I want to show you how I determined what size irrigation main line I'm running and everything that goes into actually figuring this out and determining it. There's tables you can use. You can talk to irrigation companies. I actually happen to have a proxy with my main line running up to the other building up there that I used, but I'll show you. Okay, so kind of shooting this out of order, but this is how you determine what your flow rate is at your water supply. My main supply is coming off of this line here that feeds into here, up into my meter pit onto 1-inch line. From here to here, it's actually 3/4, so it actually chokes it a little bit, but we're just interested in how long it takes to fill up this bucket. Pretty simple. Open up the tap, and then we time it, see how long it takes to completely fill that bucket up. That number we'll then use to figure out our gallons per minute. And that'll determine the rest of our irrigation line and what we're gonna do with it. So, there we go. Now you do get a little bit of drag on the line because the line, is a circle. The water runs around the outside of the circle, it builds up tension, slows the water down, slows your pressure down. Because I know on a 3/4 inch line, when I ran it out 200 feet originally, I was only getting about 8 gallons per minute. But here's a good proxy of my 1-inch line, because this is the 1-inch running clear back from the meter down at the bottom of the farm. So I've got about 200 foot of line that comes up, snakes through the building, comes through there, around the corner, so it's got some elbows and other stuff, and then drops, and then it comes down to here. Oh, don't mind the bubbler, I just have it rigged right now because we had to use it real quick. But now we can fill up the bucket again out here to see if we've lost any pressure. Now I've done this already, it's exactly 17 seconds, we're still getting the exact same flow rate, which is perfect. That's what we're going to do. I'll have 17 seconds to fill a 5-gallon bucket, which is my, what's that number again? Yeah, 17 gallons per minute at the end of a 200 foot run of irrigation line. So I should hopefully be able to do whatever I want with it. Okay, now that we know how many seconds it took us to fill the 5-gallon bucket, we need to figure out our gallons per minute through the line. There's the only math we're going to do on this, and it's actually relatively easy. We know that for a 5-gallon bucket, it took about 17 seconds to fill it. That gives us 0.29, and we got gallons per second as our unit. But that doesn't do us any good because all agricultural stuff is done in gallons per minute. So we take our 0.29 gallons per second, and we want to get rid of the seconds and turn it into minutes. So we got seconds per minutes. There's 60 seconds in a minute. The seconds go away. So we got 0.29 times 60. And that gives us 17.6 gallons per minute, which is actually a great flow rate for what we're doing. With this flow rate, I know just from charts and other experience that we can fill, or we can run everything we're going to need to on the farm and run it through a 1-inch main line going out. If I wanted to try to push and I could actually get this up to 20 gallons per minute, I have to run it probably a 1.5-inch main line. But for our purposes, this will be fine. And on top of that, if we're running 4 of our sprinkler heads that are 1.5 gallons per minute each, that is 6 gallons per minute. So if we do this right, we can actually run 2 full irrigation lines at the same time. But that'll be yet to be determined. We'll have to see. So yay, more math. All right, so now we're gonna get ready and start running this. So here's my master plan for the irrigation system. We have our main line connection right here in the pit. We've got all of our plots spread out across the field. Got 2 tunnels here, another tunnel here. So what we're going to do is come up and over. We're going to tee off, go over to our existing irrigation header, which is going to run the prop house, and 3, which will eventually be another prop house, and also over here to 1 if we want. I can also pull 1 off the house because it's over here. And then we're going to tee off to 2. Put heads in 4, both the tunnels here. I've got some cross connectors that'll make an X here so we can run directly over to both of these in 6 and 7 block. And we'll just do 1 for each block and hopefully be able to push both directions and run them at the same time. And then 8 and 9 are the large acre blocks, and we'll have a head popped up on the corner of both of those. Just wanted to really quickly show you the supply list for running all these branch lines. This is actually, the number here is too high. I doubled that on accident, so we only need 1 roll there. And let's see, we just spent about $350 on supplies, and then we had another $80 in the main line and connections. So right now we're looking right about $450 total for this whole entire system. Now here is what I've come up for my irrigation risers. It's just a 3/4 inch hose to thread right there, 3/4 inch line coming up, and then 3/4 inch to 1 inch, which will be the size of my main line everywhere else. So these will actually be in the ground, sticking up, I don't know, maybe that far above ground, maybe that far, I don't know. If I want to make them higher, I can also put couplers and more pieces of a pipe on the top. Now this is gray PVC rated for 100 psi, so it means that it's also UV resistant. That way we don't have to worry about these rotting and breaking. They are plastic, which I'm a little worried about people breaking off, but if it really becomes an issue, I can replace all these risers with actually a piece of metal galvanized. But for the time being, I'm not worried about that. This is going to be our game plan, and we'll have shut-offs on each bed, and we can put a timer right on and run all of our beds independently together however we want. So here are the basic tools and parts and pieces I need to put together this irrigation line. It's all common lawn irrigation type stuff. Just using regular black irrigation line. Not sure exactly what this is called. It is the 100 psi, 120 psi and I'm using 1 inch everywhere for my main line. There are things you need. Ratchet wrench makes putting the band clamps on quicker. Torch for heating up the line. I got some cutters, which are great for cutting the poly and any other irrigation line. Socket wrench for last torque. And then another wrench or two to put together my risers themselves. I also bought extra, which I'm going to keep in a bucket. And we're actually going to set this up for a repair bucket. So anytime something goes wrong with our mainline irrigation system, we're going to have at least 1 extra part and pieces. Actually, everything is put together at this point, even though I'm shooting this now. So these are actually pieces that I still have left over. So we have a header, which down here attaches 1 inch main line. Then we got 3/4 riser, 3/4 garden hose attachment with a full open gate valve. If I can get that pointed in the right direction. There we go. So we don't have any constriction there, which allows us to maintain our gallons per minute. Also keep around some extra T's because we got a lot of those out there. At least 1 straight coupler in case it gets broke. Elbow, just in case. And then some extra band clamps. So I just want to show you real quick how to actually assemble this stuff, because it doesn't quite go together as easy as you might think it would. So here's the best way I've found to hook these up. Get your 2 band clamps. I use 2 for anything underground. It's what Michael Kilpatrick suggested, and I find it to be a really good idea because you have double. Put them both on my tube. Have them on opposite sides. That way they can get closer. Then take a torch, and I'm just gonna heat it until it starts to get shiny, which it does really quickly. But I don't want to overheat it because it'll get really soft on me. It's just starting to get shiny right there. You see how that spot right there got shiny? That's what I'm looking for. See, now we're shiny all the way around. I take my piece, it'll easily slide in. Makes a nice connection. Turn this off. There we go. Makes a nice connection. And I pour a little bit of water on it to quickly cool it, which will constrict it, but it's still rather warm. From there, line up my 2 clamps. And while it's still hot, this makes the best fit that way. I torque them down. I want them right next to each other. And I found doing just a couple pops on that, because I'll actually blow these clamps out, and then use my socket wrench and just torque it until it feels tight. I'm only holding that much of the wrench because if I hold more than that, I will actually blow the clamp out. I'll have to switch off. Now, it's not quite this easy. Usually you're working down the hole. So you're down there working on everything, but just as simple as that. A quick watertight connection. You can actually see it's bowing out a little bit because they're put on a little bit warm. That means I got a good snug connection. I do check everything with pressure before I backfill any of the holes and make sure I'll run my hand underneath and make sure I don't feel any drops of water. If I do, I'll take it apart, reheat it, and reclamp it. So here's where the water line goes, right along the edge of the fabric. This one's covered up. Tees off to a hydrant next to the shed. Tees off next to the post on 2. Continues down through the middle. You can kind of see it in the middle here. And then we come over and we tee off into the edge of tunnel 4. Come over again, tee off into the high tunnel. Continue down, tee off into 4B, which is a larger cat tunnel. Continue down. We have a splice, which is almost, it's about a foot in from the south side of the high tunnel. We continue down. To plot 6, dead center. Plot 7, dead center. Continue out into the acre blocks. Pretty much centered all the way down this main road. We've got another T right here with a cap on the end. Hydrant on the edge of plot, oh, where are we? 8. And then over here, off the edge of plot 9, where that stake is actually the corner of the bed. Same thing over here. So now we have this capped off. It'll be underground, so if we ever want to continue down further. So now I'm at the farthest point in my irrigation system, where it branches off to my 2 1-acre blocks, and we're going to repeat the water test again and see how long this takes. Got good pressure, and start. Full. So, like I said, it's going to take a couple days. You can see it's another day and it's raining and kind of mucky out here. But that test out there at the far head, which is roughly 200 foot out from where the main meter is up here, same 17 seconds, which means I lost a 0 gallons per minute, my flow rate, down the whole entire 200 foot line. In fact, I actually tried it right after it's put in out here. You can't see it. Oh yeah, you can. That block right there. Clear out there where that head is. It's on block 6. And I actually filled the bucket in 13 seconds, which actually puts me closer to 20 gallons per minute, which is super awesome. What it means, and I've actually done this so far, is I can turn on the irrigation in that house, that tunnel there too, and the high tunnel, which is on drip, all at the same time, and it all works, which is great, because before it was I could do that one and then I have to set a timer to go to the next one, and then I have a timer for the next one. Now I can set them all run at 10 o'clock. All run at 10 o'clock, not 10 o'clock, 10:10, 10:20, 10:30, and I burn a whole hour running around chasing irrigation. All goes off at once. I should actually be able to run 2 full lines of the mega nets out there too. So that'd be 8 heads, which is 3 heads or 1.5 gallons per minute, 6, so 12 gallons per minute. I've got 15, gives me 3 extra. Should be no problem. I can run a whole block at once, 2 lines, 1 timer. That'll just make everything so much simpler. So, hope y'all like what you saw today. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank y'all. Have a good day.